Don't Depend on Daddy is an unfiltered safe space, empowering young professionals to build independence in their 20s and beyond, whether it be personal, professional, or financial. Regardless of your age, relationship status, or job title, the most consistent person in your life is you. So join me and let's build our independence together. Enjoy! Hello and welcome back to Don't Depend on Daddy, the podcast. My name is Michaela. I am your host and I'm so excited for today's episode. It's going to be a little bit of a piggyback off of last week's episode and honestly the episode where I talked about what I was obsessed with. And we are going to be going through some small tweaks, little we'll call them lazy girl hacks to just elevate your look and feel more put together without too much additional effort, because obviously when you have to do so many things, it can be really hard to sustain. Before we get into the bulk of the episode, I'm going to very quickly run through my usual housekeeping. So first things first, as always, you can use the code podcast1 for $10 off the personal finance dashboard. If you are new here, the personal finance dashboard is my signature money management, financial management tool. It's the tool that helped me grow my net worth from negative 30,000 to over 7 figures. So if you are someone who wants to budget better, grow your net worth, ultimately really get a grip on how you're spending and using your money and reach specific financial goals, I definitely recommend checking out the personal finance dashboard and make sure you use the code podcast1 for money off. If you are interested in just getting started with your first budget, I would recommend you check out the basic budgeting template. So this is my other budgeting tool. It's a little less involved, I guess, than the personal finance dashboard in that it is really focused specifically on building out that first budget and getting in the habit of expense tracking. And then regardless of which tool you're using, if you are ready to take your finances one step further, I recommend you run your financial independence numbers. And I have a template for this. Obviously, it's called the FIRE Planner. And what this planner is going to do is answer the question, how much do you need for retirement or to retire prior to 65? Something that I think the FIRE movement doesn't share enough. It's so focused on frugality, which I disagree with, and to a degree, whole different conversation. I'm going on a tangent, but something that I think that the FIRE movement doesn't focus on enough is the career planning layer of it, and how when you know your FIRE numbers and you know what your targets are and what it takes to reach those targets, you can actually make career decisions. And we are taught a very linear path of go to college, get a job, work until you're 65 and then retire. But you probably don't have to do that. Or you could, realign your plans when you know the necessary numbers. So I'm obsessed with financial independence. It's something that I'm really trying to talk about a lot more. But the first steps is knowing your numbers. So make sure you check out the FIRE Planner. All of the information on all of these templates is always in the show notes. And there are full tour videos of everything. If you have any questions, generally those tour videos answer pretty much every question that comes up. But of course, if you have questions, you can always just send me an email. So with that, let's get into today's episode. And we are really going to be focusing on how you can start feeling a little bit more put together, because I feel pretty strongly that when you feel put together, you show up a lot differently in your life and it just makes you feel a lot better, which is obviously very important. So a couple weeks ago, I shared what I've been obsessed with, and a few of the things that I have been obsessed with lately are TikTok creators who have been always, looking effortlessly stylish and put together and share videos around how they do that. And as I have gotten a little bit older, and now I'm 30, I have really been trying to put a little bit more effort into my appearance. I don't want to say I've been doing that 110% on video here, but in my real life, when I'm out and about, I'm really trying to put more effort into the way I look, because I do feel like the little bit of extra effort can go a long way when it comes to personal self-esteem, which is obviously very important, but also in how you show up in the world. What I have found is that in the times where I don't like the way that I look, I don't want to be seen, I don't want to be social, I'm not as outgoing, I'm not as confident, and obviously that can inhibit your ability to be your best self when you are out of your home. Very important, especially for me right now. I'm sort of in a phase where I'm doing a little bit of dating, I'm still making new friends, I'm still integrating into this city, and I want to feel good, and I'm going to do what it takes in order to feel that way so that I feel good about myself and ultimately can build and create the life that I really want to have. What I have learned through consuming content about this more high maintenance to be low maintenance, effortless kind of style, chic look, whatever you want to call it. I think, it kind of encompasses all of those things. It does require effort, okay? So there is no real like effortless look here. Like effort is involved, but at varying degrees. And there are small things you can do that don't take a lot of time or energy. But I do really want to say that like the girls who you see who are always cute, put together, they do try to look that way. Like it does require trying and doing something with what you've got, right? Which I think we need to demystify. I think the downside that I want to highlight on this like TikTok content that I see a lot of is like, oh, like if you just have a skincare routine, you'll automatically look like this Instagram model. And that's just not true. A lot of that isn't real. However, the emphasis of this episode are those small things that you can do to just elevate ever so slightly. And a big theme this year for me has just been to elevate my life in all of these different ways and pay attention to the details. I've said this 1,000 times over. Effort, though, does not necessarily equal time, right? These things that we're going to talk about are not super time consuming. They just require thinking about them. And I think that's something that's really important is effort is really intention more so than it is time and energy. And maybe making these small changes to your getting ready routine or generalized thinking ahead when it comes to shopping and, knowing what you need and what things really look good on you can make the difference that you may be seeking. I'm super interested in elevating my look. I'm 30. I want to look my age and I want to look like I care, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I think it's really important to be open about the fact that it is okay to care about how you look. It's not everything, obviously. It's also important to have interests and hobbies and be kind and have a wonderful personality, but it's also totally fine to value how you look and to take care and put in effort into your appearance. I think it goes a long way in the world, and it doesn't mean you have to be, the most done up version of yourself all the time. I am definitely not that, and I actually don't like being super done up, but I want to embrace how I look naturally. And again, I've said it 1,000 times in these first, 5 or 6 minutes. It requires effort, but it doesn't necessarily require tons and tons of additional time. One of my favorite creators for this is Shola Fakoya on TikTok. I will make sure her handle is in the show notes because I know that that's like not an easy thing to remember here. She has a series called the Put Together series. Some of them are a little, too much, but generally speaking, she highlights like small little tweaks you can do to look more put together. I really enjoy watching those videos, and that sort of inspired some of this as well. With all of this in mind, there are a few ways to like streamline this idea of looking effortlessly put together. Again, effortlessly in air quotes because it does require effort. And I've been teaching myself via social media content and through actually trying in my own life. And I'm going to break down what I have found so far, like what's been sticking and what I've been doing. So we are going to cover beauty hacks, outfit upgrades, and everyday luxuries. So like some little extras that I think are a good add into your toolkit for elevating your look. So with that, let's just get right into it. We'll start with some beauty things. So these are all just like small hacks, I guess. And you can pick and choose. Consider like everything I talk about today a menu, okay? I'm not telling you you need to do all of these things. You can do none of them. I don't really care. What I'm saying is like these are some small things you can integrate into your routine based off of, what you're paying most attention to or what you care about the most. So starting with beauty hacks. One is your hair. So I am going to be honest. I really don't like the texture of my hair. You might be surprised about this, but my hair is actually like curly. I don't like the way I look with curly hair, and I struggle with styling my hair. I'm working on it, but a key way to look put together is to make sure your hair is styled again with effort. So what does that mean? I'll use myself as the example. I blow out my hair or I slick my hair back. It's one of those two. I don't really experiment with other hairstyles. When I blow out my hair, what I like to do is make sure that I style it with a little bit of a straightener. I'll put some extra oil in it. And then in the morning, I'll spend a little bit of time just zhuzhing it up so that I like the way it looks. Is it perfect? No. But I do put a little bit of time into just styling my hair when it's down. When my hair is slicked back, I usually slick it back in a bun. I have one of those little wands and I just take the extra, 30 seconds to tame the flyaways, to make sure the bun is in the right spot on my head, to use a nice little scrunchie and really just put my hair together. Your hair can change the way that you look. I don't think it's the most important thing, but I do think that styling your hair is an important part of like the generalized getting ready routine. So whatever style makes sense for your hair and your texture. I've always been so jealous of those girls whose hair just dries nice and straight. I know girls with straight hair wish they had curly hair or hair with volume. Could not disagree more. I wish I had hair that could just dry straight when I stepped out of the shower. I unfortunately don't have that. So if you are in the world where you are also experiencing that, I would take the extra 5 minutes to just style your hair and find the styles for your hair that you like and that you can maintain. Okay, that's a big one. Number 2 is to keep your skin moisturized, and I'm not just talking about your face. Okay, I have a very specific body care routine, and I do it now. I used to do it only at night, but now I also do it in the morning. So in the mornings and at night, I have the Paula's Choice AHA weightless body lotion, and I use that on my neck and my chest and my shoulders when I step out of the shower. AHA in body lotion is really important for like texture and smoothness. I think it's important on the décolleté area, especially as women, as we get older. That's an area that tends to be exposed to the sun a lot. And so I bring my skincare down my neck when I can, but I also like to use a body lotion like that. I do that in the morning and at night. And then every morning and night when I get out of the shower, when my skin is still damp, I lotion up my legs and I lotion up my feet and I put socks on. And I find that just taking this little bit of time to make sure my skin is smooth and soft, even if I'm putting pants on, it doesn't really matter, makes my skin feel glowy, moisturized. I feel much more confident when I'm showing like my legs or my arms, which I don't really like to do if I'm being completely honest. But when I do, I feel better when I'm moisturized up. There is something about nice, smooth, moist skin that just makes you look really glowy. It's such a simple thing to do. I know it's annoying. Now I've gotten in the habit of doing it. So when I get out of the shower or like if I skip a night, I notice and I don't like it. So I like to stay nice and moisturized and my skin doesn't get ashy. And I also think that keeping your skin moist again helps with aging gracefully, we'll call it. Number 3 here, always have a lip balm. Another really simple one. I love the Summer Fridays lip balms. I talked about these last week. Always have a lip balm, always have moisturized lips, always have a little bit of a gloss. A glossy lip, even when you're wearing no makeup, makes you look so much more put together for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but over the last year or so, I have really gotten onto the lip gloss train, okay? I could never justify spending $20 on a lip balm until I actually did it. And now I'm obsessed. You don't have to buy the really fancy ones. I like the Summer Friday ones, like I said, but I also just like Vaseline. I have Vaseline on my lips right now. It gives you a little bit of a shine. It's still moisturizing and it just makes you look so much more put together. I don't know what it is. You don't have to have a color in it. I don't really use tinted lips, but a shiny, glossy lip makes a difference. And it's so easy to do. It is so easy to do. So I have a lip balm in every bag, every drawer, and they're all over the place. I have one next to my bed. I have one in my bathroom. I have one in the drawer of my desk. I have one in my Lululemon belt bag. I have one in each of my purses. Like there's always a lip balm everywhere. So I always have one. And anytime I'm feeling like, oh, I want to just, give a little pep in my step, I gloss up my lips. Super easy. We're done. Next, daily perfume. The details are so important. This is another one I talked about last week, but I just spritz a little bit of perfume on myself every day. Smelling good changes your aura. It changes your aura. If you ever walk past someone and they smell so good and you're like immediately captivated by them, this doesn't mean the smell has to be like super overwhelming. You don't want to choke people and have tons and tons of perfume on, But a little spritz, a little roller. I like to keep a perfume roller in my purse when I go out. I always spritz myself in the morning before I get started with work, even if I'm not going anywhere. Lip balm, little spritz of smelling good, huge, huge, huge difference in looking and feeling put together. I also want to emphasize the feeling of the feeling of being put together. Next here is a whitening mouthwash. I'm sure there's going to be some dentist on here who tells me this is bad. I'm not super worried about it. I have the Crest like whitening mouthwash. I use this every night. In the morning, I have more of a like clinical mouthwash that my dentist told me to get. But at night, I have a tooth whitening mouthwash. Okay. What this does is it just gently whitens my teeth on a regular basis. And having white teeth is a huge beauty hack, okay? White teeth and the whites of your eyes. I don't put eye drops in because I have contacts and I have sensitive eyes. I know people like Lumify eye drops. They're not for me, but they could be for you. But white teeth, don't underestimate the power of white teeth. You don't have to do whitening strips if you don't want to. I don't really use those, but I have noticed a huge difference in consistently using like a whitening mouthwash. And it also just ties in like my whole dental care and routine. So a little bit of mouthwash can go a long way in terms of upgrading your beautiful smile. And the last one here that I think is really valuable, this is an everyday luxury, but I'm adding it into beauty hacks, eye patches. I'm in my eye patch era. So I recently saw a photo of myself where I was like smiling with my teeth. I hate smiling with my teeth, not because I don't like my teeth, but because I don't like the way my under eyes look when I smile like that. I know somebody's going to comment on this and say that I'm crazy, but I look at myself on camera all the time. I don't like it. And I don't want to get Botox. So I use eye patches now in an eye cream, but I've been really on my eye patch game. I got a bunch when I was in Asia and I will be repurchasing them, of course. But I'm finding through a lot of TikTok research that if you feel like you have super dry or hollow under eyes, an eye patch obviously is not going to do the same thing as like a Botox or a filler. I don't believe in filler under the eye personally, not something I ever plan to do. But keeping your under eye area really moist can really brighten up your entire face, okay? So I have been on my eye cream, eye patch game. I think it takes consistency, okay? So by the time you're listening to this, I'll have been doing it for over a month. But I have been doing an under eye cream morning and night, specifically an eye cream. The one I'm using right now is, again, from Asia. But when I get one that I use from the US, I will let you know. I do like the Biossance one. I have another one of those in my skincare bucket, if that's what you want to call it. And then I have an eye patch in the morning that I put on to like really lock that in. And I do think that it's making a bit of a difference in just rehydrating and brightening up my under eye. And then I also like to use under eye concealer during the day. So eye patches can make a difference. Some people say they don't do anything. I think, I'm going to be honest. I used to like the Peter Thomas Roth ones until I used some of these ones from Korea. They can't be those jelly ones. Those jelly ones, like the Summer Fridays jelly ones, I haven't used those. I don't think the jelly ones do as much. I like the ones that are more of a like, not a papery material, but they're like a sheet mask material, but like they're soaking in product, okay? They need to be really wet. Sometimes they slide down your face a little bit, but as they dry, they really stick there. Those are the ones that I think really moisturize and rehydrate your eyes. I'm using like this Exosome kind that I got in Japan, but I'm going to do some research on some different eye masks here too in the US because I do think they make a difference. I don't think you need to buy the really expensive jelly ones. I think it's the paper ones, or I know there are reusable ones. I haven't tried those, but I'm probably going to. So more to come on that. But eye patches, I'm really into right now. So those are just some small little beauty hacks that you can add into your regular routine. Lotion on the body, having a lip balm, using a whitening mouthwash, and eye patches, like all very, very easy things to do on the daily, but they really can over time just make a big difference in how you look, how you feel. They're all subtle, but when all tied together, it does make a difference. Moving on, outfit hacks. So as I've said 1,000 times over on this show, my personal style journey is quite a journey. It's in process. And these are a couple of things that I have learned when it comes to outfits. One being, and again, these are all in the small details. I'm not really going to be talking about clothes. Obviously, your clothes need to properly fit you and hang on your body correctly. That goes without saying. These are like additional things. So number one, having a nice bag, okay? It's time for non-exercise situations to retire the Lululemon belt bag. I don't want to tell you to go out and buy a new bag, okay? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, although I guess I kind of am saying that, but don't misinterpret this. What I am saying is the Lululemon belt bag, one of my favorite bags, okay? I use that. I've had one for years and years and years. I use it every single day when I'm wearing workout clothes, okay? If I'm going on my walk, if I'm doing something like that, I'm wearing my Lulu belt bag. If I'm wearing normal clothes, like day clothes, I'm not using that bag. I don't like it. I don't like those. I don't like the bagoo bags. These are just my opinions. I think having a really nice bag, it doesn't have to be, a $1,000 purse, right? It could just be a leather or a faux leather bag that you can get from from Marshall's or anywhere. But having like a day bag, a crossbody bag, a shoulder bag, whatever, it makes a big difference in tying together the look. It just elevates it a little bit more. Like you could be wearing the cutest outfit ever, and if you wear your Lulu belt bag, it just takes away from it, okay? It just does. So I said what I said. That being said, I only have 3 bags. I don't have a ton of purses, but the bags that I do have, I spent a little bit of money on. I'm not a designer purse gal. I kind of like the lower mid-range designers, so like a Coach, which is still a designer bag, but it's not like a $3,000 purse. I think my bag that I have was like $400. So I have 3 bags, literally 3 that I keep on rotation. I have a Coach Soho bag. So that's like my shoulder bag. It has a cute little buckle on it. It's black and it has silver details. And that's what I use as my like evening going out bag all year long. I use it in the summer. I use it in the winter. It's the best bag ever. Best money I've ever spent. I'm obsessed with it. I would say I'd get another one, but I just don't need another one because that's the one that I use. It goes with everything. And then earlier this year, I got a Polen Numero 10 bag as my everyday crossbody bag. I'm obsessed with this. It's also 2 bags in one because it has a strap that you can shorten and have it be a shoulder bag or a crossbody. The reason why I went with the Polen bag specifically is because the crossbody can be shortened so it hits like right under your like boob area in your hip rather than all the way down closer to your leg. I think that style of crossbody bag is a really good, swap out for the Lulu belt bag, but also really cute and really functional. I got that bag because I knew I needed a bag for when we were going to be in Japan without using my Lulu bag again, because I just think that it really takes away from a look in general. And I love this bag. I'll use this bag forever. I think it's great. And it was 100% worth the money that I spent on it. I know I'm going to get use out of it for years. And then the last bag that I have is actually like an Everlane tote bag, and that's my work bag. I actually got that gifted to me from Everlane last year. I really like it. It's just a black leather tote bag. It's really big. It's a shoulder bag. It's perfect for fitting like my laptop, a couple books, my mouse, whatever. I can throw a sweatshirt or something in there. And I think that having a nice leather tote or leather-esque, it doesn't have to be real leather. It could be faux leather, depending on your budget, is great for a work bag or even a leather backpack. Like when I worked my 9-to-5 job and was commuting into Boston, I actually had, I think it was called Konomo London. It was like a black backpack, but it wasn't like, a North Face backpack. It was like an elevated backpack. And I think it was like $150 or something. It just changes the way that your outfit looks and how you look in general. So I do think it is worthwhile. You don't have to have 3 bags. You could just have 1. I do think it is worthwhile to have 1 bag that you can wear with a lot of outfits, if not all of your outfits, to really tie everything together. So those are the 3 bags that I have. I also got gifted a bag from Quince. It is a suede brown crossbody like bucket bag. I really also love that bag. I just don't wear brown as much, but I wanted to have a brown bag in the mix. Also go for a color scheme. I love black bags. I like black bags with silver hardware. That's my go-to. And having different styles of them, again, just makes it versatile for different outfits without having decision fatigue. And again, they elevate the whole look. Moving on to staple accessories. So I think we're kind of in this era of over accessorizing, which I personally don't really like. I don't want to have stacks and stacks of jewelry all over me. I can appreciate that for certain occasions, but it's just too much for me personally. I like to have simple staple accessories. And if you were to go back and look at all my videos, I'm pretty much wearing the same things in all of them. I think having two options of each thing is kind of all you need. And then if you want to take it one step further, you can mix in like a watch or something. So obviously pick your color. I'm a silver, you might be a gold. I know some people do mixed metals. I'd love to be that cool, but I'm just not. I prefer silver jewelry. So I have 2 necklaces, 2 earrings, and 2 bracelets. Okay. That's all, literally like pretty much all I have. I do have some earrings and stuff my grandma's given me, a small collection of things over time, but I have 2 of each that I wear most frequently. So my 2 key necklaces, this one I'm wearing now, it's a choker that I got from Gorjana years ago. I like this. I think, it just depends on what outfit I'm wearing, whether or not I'm wearing this one. I find if I have like a V-neck or a lower cut shirt, this necklace is really cute. And then I have a diamond necklace that I have from Ring Concierge that my sister got for me for being the maid of honor in her wedding. Those are the only 2 necklaces that I wear. They're very small. I find them to be like a little dainty. I don't really feel them on my neck. And I do think that it really is all you need. Obviously, if you want to add a little more pizzazz, you can mix in, either like less expensive or more, I don't want to say costumey jewelry, like chunky jewelry is probably the right word, into the mix. But for me, that's not really my style and I'm not going to force it to be. So that's all I have for my staple accessories. I think investing in some nicer jewelry, maybe one of each, is again another worthwhile long-term investment. I would love to get like a tennis necklace or a tennis bracelet at some point. Next, I have 2 key earrings that I wear. I have these earrings from also Gorjana, these little huggies. I think they were like $60. And I wear them every day. I never take them out. I take them out like if I'm showering or something, but otherwise, you don't have to take them out though to shower. Otherwise, I have these in pretty much 95% of my life. And then I also have a pair of mini knots from Heaven Mayhem. I love those. I know they're a little trendy, but I think I'll wear them honestly like kind of forever. They're really beautiful. They're nice and bright silver. And I wear those as my like going out earrings. So if I want to dress up an outfit, I'll put those on and I think they make a big difference. And then for bracelets, I have this Cape Cod bracelet that I've had on my wrist since I got it when I was 21. I have never taken it off and I don't plan to. If you go to New England or you go to Cape Cod, you should get a Cape Cod bracelet. You can get them at Cape Cod Jewelers. And then there's also like the main girl who originated them. I believe her name is Eve, but I can't remember. So you have to look that up yourself. But Cape Cod bracelet is a really classic staple. They have them in gold. You can get a gold band with a silver ball, a silver band with a gold ball, double balls, whatever. They're pretty customizable. And then, I also have a silver bangle that I got from J. Crew. And those are like the 2 bracelets that I have. What I'd like to mix in is like a diamond tennis bracelet or potentially a Cartier watch. Both of those are obviously very expensive and unnecessary. I haven't pulled the trigger on either, and I haven't decided if I actually truly want them or if I'm just being influenced online. I need to go try some stuff on in a jeweler. All that to say, you really don't need more than that when it comes to your jewelry. You can add more, but you don't need more. I think that having good staples that you can wear every day is all you need, but having your go-to look. So I like to have an earring, a necklace, and a bracelet. That's my formula. You might like to have an earring, 2 necklaces, and no bracelet, or 2 bracelets and a necklace and no earrings. I don't know. Maybe you don't have your ears pierced. I don't know. Okay. Pick whatever formula works for you and stick to it and have that just go to little jewelry stack. The last thing here when it comes to outfits is hair accessories. So we talked about hair earlier and always having your hair styled, but like there are little accessories you can add to your hair to really elevate your look. First, headbands. I'm kind of interested in trying out like one of those tortoiseshell hard headbands this fall. I need a try some on, okay? I don't know if I'm going to like the way I look with the headband. Sometimes I find that headbands hurt my head. But also, like, if you're slicking your hair back or you want to get your hair out of your face, one of those nice thick band headbands could be really nice. I'm a scrunchie gal, so I have a ton of scrunchies. And what I like about scrunchies is that they just elevate when your hair is up. So if I'm putting my hair in a bun, I'm using a scrunchie. It adds to the outfit and it adds to the look and it pulls everything together. Very small detail makes a big difference. Also, when I was in Korea, I got a Korean hairpin. I don't know if I have the right texture for that, but I'm going to experiment with using that. Claw clips as well fall into this category. I think having nice claw clips can make a difference. I like the MEJ ones. I have one MEJ clip. It's blue. I don't wear it enough. But when I do wear that, my hair does not move. Those acrylic style clips, I think you can buy like dupes of those off of Amazon, which I fully support. Dupes of hair accessories, like whatever. But a nice claw clip can also make a big difference. So these are all small little accessories to add to your outfits that I think can help tie and pull everything together. It's all in the details. Moving on to this last section here. So these are just like little extras that I like. And I feel like these little extras, again, elevate my life. They're not necessarily to do with any looks or appearance. They're more just like little things I have that I love. First would be having coordinated toiletry bags. So I ordered these off of Etsy. I have 2 toiletry pouches and I got rid of all my other like random miscellaneous pouches that were floating all around in my closet. And they're blue and they're like this nice velvety material and they have my name on it and they match. I have a big one for like my skincare stuff and then I have a small one that I keep my makeup in for storage and that's it. And I travel with those. And I love them. And I'm happy when I look at them. I think they look really cute on the counter, like in a hotel bathroom or when I'm at home in my bathroom. And don't underestimate too the power of just like a little matching set. These are areas of my life that I have ever so slowly started to upgrade. So like matching packing cubes or, my nice travel backpack. Like over time, as I've needed to replace things, I've upgraded them. So I did that with my toiletry bags and I love it. I think Etsy is a really great place to look for toiletry bags that are like very reasonable that you can also customize. I think putting your initials or your name on your toiletry bags is super cute. Next is a nice hairbrush. So I got the Crown Affair #1 brush as a Christmas gift. That was like the only thing I asked for Christmas last year because for Christmas we did like a Secret Santa kind of thing. So everybody asked for one thing and then, I got my sister got my mom got my dad got me, that kind of thing. And I just asked for this one hairbrush because I wanted to get a Mason Pearson brush, but it just felt silly. The Crown Affair brush is very similar and it's like a fraction of the price. It's $100 and I love it. It's the Crown Affair #1. It makes a difference in your hair. Believe me, my parents, not my parents, my sister and my mom both laughed when I asked for this. They thought it was silly until they both used it. And then they were like, whoa, now I understand. So a nice hairbrush can just, again, elevate your getting ready routine. It feels good to brush out your hair. You get a little head massage. Really nice. Next, another extra I love, a little everyday luxury, an ice roller. I have the Skinny Confidential ice roller, okay? She's expensive for an ice roller. However, I also have an Amazon ice roller, and I never use that one because I like the Skinny Confidential one better. I've had it for years. I got it as a gift years ago. It's heavy. It stays cold. Ice rolling in the morning is one of life's most simplest pleasures. If you're not doing it, you totally should. It totally depuffs your face. It wakes you up. It feels really luxurious. And I think, you ice roll your face, you brush out your hair with your beautiful hairbrush, you're taking your makeup out of your coordinated toiletry bag. There's something about it. The girls that get it. And they're all small things. You don't have to do them all at once, but they're all little things that really just elevate the whole getting ready routine. And that's part of it. That is part of loving your appearance and loving how you look and loving your day-to-day and romanticizing your day-to-day are these small little things that just make the whole process more enjoyable. The last thing I'm going to mention here is curating a nice Pinterest board for style inspo. This is something that I'm really working on. I want to be a Pinterest gal. I'm just not really there yet. I also think there's too many ads on Pinterest. All that to say, I'm working on like a fall inspo Pinterest board because I just want to curate the vibes of my wardrobe and of my life and have it be really cozy and nice and like a little bit moody. And I do think that a nice Pinterest board, A, it's fun to create, but B, it can help influence like what you buy, how you style things. I don't know. I'm learning a lot from these TikTok creators I talked about a couple weeks ago, tying all my style together and really figuring out what my vibe is. Everybody has their own vibe, right? So I think that Pinterest is a great tool to use to figure out your unique vibe and aesthetic. So with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Again, like I said, am really focused on pulling everything together in the details and all of that. I find these small little things have made just a very big difference in tying my whole look together in general. And yeah, if you have one to add, please let me know. And with that, I will catch you next week. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave me a review. Make sure to follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next week.